I mean, I think that's all we do is collaborate with agencies outside of IT. I think that's our role, and with the ultimate objective of improving the lives of Delawareans. So we've been working with our child welfare department to put in an integrated system for tracking their customers, which are the children and families of Delaware. Probably one of the most notable things this year is we worked with our division of corporations. And as you know, Delaware is the corporate capital of the world. We worked with them to modernize off of the mainframe into a modern application to manage their corporation business, which is a third of the state's revenue and involves just about every major corporation in the U.S. and around the world. And fortunately, you probably didn't hear about it because our goal was for it to be a non-event. It happened around Labor Day, and it was a non-event. If it had been an event, it would have been like a CNN, MSNBC, Fox, CNBC news event, because when those companies can't do those transactions, it impacts the global economy. So that one was a really big one for us, and we continue to work with them to improve that new system, but they're processing at record levels at the last report that I saw. So we're pretty happy about that accomplishment, and that's a big example of us collaborating with the Department of State, which has an impact on not only Delaware citizens, but the nation. I got to preface this answer with, it's a really, I think, maybe everybody thinks this, but it's a unique time to be in the technology field, because it is, I think more today than ever, just ubiquitous throughout our entire society. So the citizens that we serve, the other agencies and businesses that we serve, all have an expectation to be able to interact with their government in ways that they're familiar with. So, having said that, we've been doing a lot of foundational work, I think, to position us for the future, where we're sharing data across our enterprise, where citizens and businesses can have a kind of single point of entry to government, where they get a comprehensive view. But in order to do that, we've had to make a significant paradigm shift in the way that technology was viewed, and business in general is done across the state. Typically it's done in the branches, then you have the departments, then you have the divisions within those departments. And that's the way we've kind of done business since the beginning of time. In the information age, that structure and approach is really an impediment to the free flow of information and low friction or no friction communication. So we've been, the Governor Markell put out Executive Order 20 to centralize. And I think that was a great start at starting to address or move in the direction that we needed to move in. So we've been causing agencies and the entire government to have more of an enterprise perspective. And so that was a long answer to your question, but there's a lot of modernization of systems and processes and involved in that will ultimately position us for the data analytics that we want to get into, the customer engagement and business engagement that doing it at the level that we'll need to be doing it at in the future. So part of it is you've had team members that have been on the team for a number of years. We all know that technology changes rapidly. So it's training and retraining those people in new technologies. I mean, just in my lifetime, we've moved from, mainframe systems to virtual environments to private commercial cloud. While there's a lot of principles that carry throughout all of those, if you're trying to use processes from the mainframe age and the virtualization cloud age, you're going to be like you're in the lumber business using axes. You may make progress, but you're going to get lapped by everyone else. So kind of training and retraining people and infusing new people in is I think part of our challenge, mixing those folks in to bring everybody up to the level that we need them to. Recruitment of the right people is still somewhat of a challenge for us. But we've expanded our where we advertise jobs, our recruitment. We've cast a wider net. Excuse me. We are growing some talent. We've created some associate level positions where we're bringing in folks out of college and new to the technology industry, and we are growing some talent instead of this philosophy of, yeah, we want like the most experience, the most education, and we want to like pay you the least, and come on over and join us. It's inspirational. We're actually gonna grow some talent as well. So we've kind of taken a couple different approaches at it, and where need be, we will engage talent, bring them in either to do training or to work on projects for us, whatever it takes to move forward. I think we are able, I've already given one example of, I think we are able to do things exponentially faster, more efficiently, more comprehensively with some of the changes. I'll give you an example. We're putting in an enterprise time and labor system. That's kind of boring, mundane, bureaucratic. Who cares about people punching in and punching out? Well, it really matters, because on the other end of that is paychecks. And I don't care how inspired people are, if you start messing up their paychecks, they're gonna become less engaged. So we're putting in an enterprise system, cloud-based, to manage that whole process. I said all that to say, one of the timekeepers recently reported that it takes them 35% less time to process the payroll. So one of the ways I look at all of the changes that we make, and it's really hard to quantify, is cost avoidance. People always say, why does technology cost so much? In Delaware government, in Governor Markell's administration, we've reduced the complement of employees by 1,000 employees. And I submit that gap has been closed by technology, because the demand for services has continued to rise. And so we're using technology as a tool to close that gap. Had we not put in some of the technology that we put in, we would need a lot more people to deliver services, which would cost government and cost the citizens of Delaware a lot more money. So we've been able to meet the increasing need with less resources by closing that gap with technology. Well, I can tell you, we're doing a lot of work around broadband, and I think we've got the right approach. There's a lot of different approaches out there. You mentioned other states, and I'm not saying those approaches are wrong, but for Delaware, our approach has been to incentivize vendors to increase infrastructure across the state. And the reason I mention that as an example, it helps government, it helps schools, it helps families, it helps businesses, it helps with economic development, and just the overall quality of life. In my opinion, you shouldn't be surprised to hear this from a CIO, but I think that broadband should be equated to a utility, like electricity, like heat. However you get your heat, I think broadband has risen to that level. It's really tough to run a business without broadband. It's really tough for students to succeed in education without broadband, and it would be extremely tough for us as a government to deliver services to the citizens without broadband. So you probably have seen some of the reports where Delaware ranks, usually in the top 3 for access to broadband. And while that's great, we still have work to do. There are areas of our state that I was on a call this morning. There are areas of our state that still need access, and there are areas where there's a lot of agriculture, so it's not as densely populated. So the broadband providers are not, they don't see a lot of return on investment by going into those areas. So we have focused on bringing enough infrastructure into those particular areas of our state. And we're actually about to do a pilot to deliver broadband wirelessly to cover that entire area. So it would be great to be known as a state where every citizen has access to affordable broadband.